Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Lewinter, licensed acupuncturist at Metro Acupuncture in Atlanta, Georgia.
Hi, and I'm Dr. Andrea Lewinter. I am also a licensed practitioner of acupuncture in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, so Mom, I wanted to have us talk today about kind of the courage that it takes to change, particularly the courage that it takes to make healthful choices.
Yeah, and it does take courage and a little bit of discipline, but I think what you said is very true. It's the courage to make a decision and to follow through.
Absolutely. So I I was as we were kind of, we talked earlier this week that we were gonna discuss this topic, and I had an experience with a patient in the treatment room that I wanted to share that. And it is very interesting how challenging it is to break patterns.
I agree. I agree on a professional level. I agree on a personal level.
And there's we many of us, there's always things that we can learn and different ways of doing things, but many of us know that you need for health, you need good quality sleep. You need, good quality food and not too much. And you need exercise. These are the one of the three main things that help support longevity and health.
Yes,
And we talk about this every day in the clinic with patients.
we do. There isn't a patient that doesn't come in that, is suffering from some ailment that we can look at and say, "Yes, how is your diet? Are you doing any kind of movement? And what's your sleep like?" And so often the first trigger for people is, "I don't sleep well." Second one is, "No, I don't exercise." And the third is, "I'm not really paying attention to my diet."
Yeah, yeah, and this isn't because, and then if we say, "Well, do you know ho," let's say, "Okay, now we have a multiple choice exam, and it's important that you pass it, and if you pass it, you're gonna get a, $25 gift card at Amazon," okay? And so, the first question, "How many hours do you need to sleep a night?" Like, what's suggested? 4, 6, 8, 12. Most people would say what?
Most people will say, "I get maybe 6 hours a night."
For sure, but what
Yeah.
would the correct answer, what I'm trying to do is say that people know
Mhm.
the correct answer. What would you say?
Yeah, most people would say, "Oh, I know I should get 8 hours of sleep."
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, great. And if, well, let's see, true or false? Okay, so Michael Pollan, has this quote, and it is, "Eat food, not too much, mostly plants." And so on the second question, true or false, is that reasonable dietary advice? Eat food, not too much, mostly plants.
Yeah, and I think most people will go and not even to answer the question, but just go like, "Well, I can't do that. I travel. I can't do that. My son or my children need to be picked up and our eating habits are not congruent."
For sure. Now that's exactly, now most people might say that they can't do it, but if they were just for this $25 Amazon gift card, and they got the first answer right, that most people would say 8 hours, and the first question they got right, they need to sleep 8 hours is suggested, and then the second question, true or false, is this reasonable dietary advice? Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. Do you think, what true or false, what would you say?
Well, I'd like to say that most people would say that that's true, but I do think that whoever you ask that question to is gonna give a little pushback in as far as, well, that's true for some people, or that's true, maybe true in theory, but, I think there's always gonna be a little pushback.
Yeah. Well, this is simply just for the Amazon gift card idea. So we're, and the third final question is, let's see. So we talked about, exercise.
Pros.
Is it well, also true or false? Is it valuable to walk 20 minutes a day every day? Does that have a benefit for reducing the risk of diabetes, of improving cardiovascular health? Is that of benefit? Like true or
Yes.
false? Would
I think the majority of people would say, "Yes, that's true."
Okay, great. Well, you just won a $25 gift card with Amazon. How are you going to spend it? So
Probably on nutritional supplements.
there you go. There you go. Well, so I know that may have been excruciating for the listeners to kind of have us muscle through that, and it was really an improv type of thing. But what I was trying to say is I was trying to point out that we many of us know what to do. We know that we need to sleep about 8 hours. We know that we need to eat high quality food, mostly plants. Of course, there's restrictions and not too much. Overnourishment is a
Mhm,
big
mhm.
issue now. Okay. And we know that we need to exercise, but why don't we do it? Why don't we do it? That is a incredibly complex situation. Okay.
Yeah.
So I about 5.5 years ago, I started a run streak, okay, where I run every single day. All right. And so far, it, it's continued. I've run, right before midnight. I've run in different time zones in different countries. I've run when I'm doing great. I've run when I'm not feeling well. I just haven't missed a day, but I only run 1 mile. But even though it's just 1 mile, it is the hardest part of doing this is getting out the door,
Yes.
okay? So what I've learned that every single day that I do this, I've been doing it now, what? Some
5 years.
about a little under 2,000 times, about 5 and a half plus years. I, have learned that I never wanna do it, almost. I never wanna do it. And I'm always glad that I did. So we have starting before I do it, I never want to do it, and I'm always glad that I did. So I've trained myself to have that adult part of me and direct my actions and not be overly focused on the part of me that doesn't want to do it and just do it because I know that the other side is I'm always gonna I'll have I'll feel better. I'll have a new idea. I'll have a sense that, oh, the streak lives on for another day. So that daily exercise for me, I've because I made it kind of this fun thing with the 1 mile run streak. That daily exercise has proven to me how challenging it is to because I know that I'm going to feel better. I know that I'm going to do something that's good for my heart, my lungs, and my lymph system, and I mean circulatory system. It's just going to be great running 1 mile. But I never wanna do it. I never wanna do it. I'm always glad that I did. So, one thing is remembering all the history, kinda playing the tape and knowing, "Oh, I wanna do this." The other is understanding that there's an emotional part of me that if I give into, I may not make the best healthful choices. And I wanted to highlight that when we have patients in the treatment room, that that often we're engaging with what I might call the adult part of themselves.
Yes.
They
Yes.
they know that they've decided that they're gonna come for acupuncture to help with migraines, pain, IVF support. They're really focused on a solution. They're focused on addressing the problem. It takes so much courage to just get into the door of getting an acupuncture treatment. So when we're making suggestions like I say, well, maybe you should sleep a little bit better. Those this the they say, "Yes, I'm gonna work on that." Or maybe we should, just work a little bit with the diet a little bit, and yes, I'm gonna work on that. And then next week we talk to them and we say, how did that go? Oh, it was so hard or whatever. Why was it so hard? Because the moment is are we talking with two different people? The moment we were talking with them in the treatment room, this is my hypothesis. The moment we were talking with them in the treatment room, we were connecting with that, I'm gonna say, for lack of a better word, that adult part of them, okay? That knows what they need to do. But when they got home, the emotional part, the maybe this needy part, this part that has the pattern of the habits took over, and then they didn't do the thing. So, that's kind of what I wanted to lay out in my own experience with making healthful choices. I've had to have the courage to not focus so much on that needy part of myself that doesn't want to do things, and reassure myself that if I do those things, I'll feel better. So that's what I know I've been talking a little bit. That's what I wanted to lay out.
Yeah, and I think that that's the conundrum, is that we are talking to essentially two different energetic people. One is working from the frontal brain, is like they're very adult. We're gonna do this. And most people know that these things will help them in a vast array of areas. But again, once we leave the treatment room or we get home, then the action of the day sets in. And, "Oh, I have to do this, and then I have to do that, and then I have to oh, I just don't have any more time." And what they really don't have is any more emotional energy. So essentially they just relax into that comfortable place. What's gonna make me feel good in this moment? What's gonna make me feel good in this moment is to sit down and eat a bowl of potato chips or, take a nap or a anything but what they have agreed to do. So I think it's really in many ways, I don't like this word, but it's the best one to use. It's an emotional struggle and staying present. There's a mindfulness piece.
And this is where what where I've with 5.5 years, the emotional struggle does not end. So that's
It
that's
doesn't
that's
end.
that's the courage. The
Yeah.
courage is you think like, okay, well, boy, with Mark, he's got this run streak 5.5 years. It must be easy. No,
Yes.
every single
Yeah.
day it's a struggle, you know? And
Yeah.
I've been thinking like, "Oh, am I gonna get 10 years? Am I gonna do 20 years?" But you have to do it kind of one day at a time, but the emotional struggle is not ending. So what I like as a practitioner of, wellness and, of course, East Asian medicine and acupuncture, what I wanna focus on is how do we learn to kind of be aware of our chi or be aware of our nervous system, whether it's fear, worry, anger, whatever, and then notice that, but still, like you were talking about the prefrontal cortex, have that a little bit more online or have that adult part of ourselves and do things that are in line with our commitment to our health and longevity, even though emotionally we're not feeling good about it. And when one's sick or one's out of practice with something, that is really hard and it takes courage. So if anyone's doing something for themselves that is improving their health today, eating less, eating more plants, working on making sure that they're getting more sleep, getting a little bit of exercise. It doesn't have to be this big heroic thing. I'm only running 1 mile, and the hardest part is getting out the door. If you're doing even the smallest thing, the doing of it is not the hard part for me. And from what I believe in my patients, the doing it is the getting started. And if we can just do that, get started with it every single that little micro win, that micro activity it can then enhance to something bigger, a longer walk, maybe more exercise, but we don't want to do too much, you know, continuing to make more healthful choices, getting more sleep. It's a practice.
It
This is a practice.
it's a tremendous practice, and I like that you're hooking up the word courage with it because it does take courage to be mindful. It does take courage to say this is gonna be a practice, and it does take courage to make change.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we thank anyone who has listened to this and watched it all the way through. It's something that I'm very passionate about because we know that if we exercise regularly, it makes a difference. We know that if we eat less and mostly plants, it makes a difference. We know if we get more sleep, it makes a difference. And it's not easy. And I really want my patients to be able to get to their goal of less pain, being able to have a baby, just feeling better in their body. I want that. And we can be the best acupuncturists, herbalists, holistic practitioners. But I think if those three things aren't being met, it makes our job so much harder. Now,
Mm.
miracles happen all the time, but if one can do those daily things, and I don't want anyone to feel like a failure if they're not doing them. And I just wanted to acknowledge how hard it is and share with you the way that I've been successful with it, which is by um kind of seeing the other side already and getting you and not being surprised by the emotional struggle because in my experience it doesn't go away.
Doesn't go away.
But
It
also the other side, the bliss, the happiness that I get from it, that is 100%. That doesn't go away either. That doesn't go away either. So it's yin and yang, you know? You know?
Absolutely.
So the win
And,
is all
I wanna offer this, okay? We've got the difficulty in this hand, and we've got the bliss over here. And if we gently, 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 gently bring those together and put them in harmony, that it does make things just a little bit easier.
it really does. It really does. It's seeing that whole picture because when we're in crisis, we can just see, as if like,
Right.
oh, I need to eat better. I need to sleep more. I need to exercise. And you just see that one thing. But realize that resistance is part of it.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
resistance is part of it. And so I think that's all I wanted to say. Do you have anything else, Andrea?
Well, I just think baby steps, kind of what you were saying is like, don't try to choke down the whole apple in one bite. Is like, just pick one little thing. So for sleep, one of the things that I share with my patient is just pick a bedtime. Don't worry about what the bedtime is, but just pick a bedtime and just stick to that, for a week. And, we can do the same thing with eating. Just pick one thing that you might want to add into your diet, one thing that maybe you want to stop eating, but just one thing, So I think that it's looking at what you mentioned with the running. You don't have to run a mile. You don't have to run for 10 minutes. You don't have to walk for 20 minutes. You can walk for 3 minutes. And as we do these little baby steps, we start feeling better. And what happens is now we want to do, 3 minutes of walking really made me feel good. Maybe tomorrow I'll do 4 minutes, or maybe tomorrow I'll do 5 minutes. So the better we feel, the more we want to feel better.
And the more I think we can also appreciate that the resistance and manage, the two sides and bringing, like you said, kind of bringing the two things together and not just being like, oh, just
Yeah.
here. So
Yeah. Well, thank you for this conversation, Mark.
yeah.
It brought a lot of enlightenment, I believe, for many people.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. So I'm Dr. Mark Lewinter with Dr. Andrea Lewinter at Metro Acupuncture in Atlanta, Georgia. And of course, if you have any additional questions or would like an acupuncture treatment, feel free to contact us. You can do that through our website, metroacupuncture.com, and you can also book online. So, until next time,
Thank you.
thank you.